Good morning, traders. Welcome to today's market review. This is Fred Razak at CMTrading. Today is August 24, 2022, and today is Wednesday morning. So looking at the highlights of the day, the markets bounced off of their new lows, but not by much. We're going to take a look at that in just a second. There's no major economic events scheduled for today. So as we look at the various categories of assets, starting out with the Forex symbols, the euro and the British pound bounce off of their lows, but not by much. We're going to take a look at that in just a second. Look at the indices, the Dow Jones and the NASDAQ do the same and find some footing. And looking at commodities, gold bouncing off support, while oil actually gaining to $93 a barrel. Now looking at the stocks, Intel remains on its lows, while looking at Bitcoin settling at 21,000. So let's take a look at the markets and see what we can expect from today's trading. So here we go. We're looking at the EURUSD at a 4-hour chart, and sure enough, we had new lows yesterday. Okay, and that wasn't something new. 0.991-ish level, which is unbelievable for the euro. Now we quickly spiked right after that to 124-ish level, which is almost a 100 pip bounce, which is extreme for intraday bounce. Remember, we've been trading in a very tight range over the past 8 years, okay, where we've been in a 300 to 400 pip range almost. And now, over the last couple of years, or the last couple of months, we've been trading in, 1,000 pip range, which is unbelievable. Okay, so just keep that in mind. As we're trading here at 99, this is something very colossal. Okay, we bounced off of our lows. We're now just somewhere in midway between that. So this could go one or two ways. It could test its lows again, or I could continue just trading sideways for now. And I pretty much believe that that's what's going to happen, at least in the short term, when we're looking at this. Okay, so keep that in mind looking at that today. Looking at the GBPUSD, did the same thing, bounced off its lows, but not by much. So it's still relatively weak. Okay, so just keep that in mind. Looking at the Australian dollar, did get that pump, and this one was really the one to go, right? Australian dollar is the one to really pump us higher at any given time. Okay, so but pretty much following the same route as the EURUSD. It bounced extremely and then somewhere in the midpoint about that. So just keep that in mind. Now looking at the commodities, let's first look at gold. Gold dipped below support. Remember, 1739 was its support level, and it did dip below it, and then once it dipped below it, came right back up, and now it's just testing that area. So it's in supportish area at this range, so just keep that in mind. And looking at crude oil, finally finding some footing. We trended lower from $124 a barrel down to about $85, and then we bounced off of it, and now we're at $93, and we're just trading between that range, at least for the interim. Now we are getting closer to the top part of the range at $94, so just keep that in mind. Now looking at the US markets, they were slightly lower yesterday. Okay, first at the Dow Jones trading at 32,840. That means we've given up over 1,200 points since our high of last week. Okay, so keep that in mind, as this has retraced tremendously. So has the NASDAQ, and it is sitting on the 30-day moving average on a daily chart. So this may be a footing, at least for now. Okay, may see some more pressure on the selling side as we go into September, October, but for right now, we have found some footing. Now looking at the individual stocks, Apple was slightly lower, but not by much. Okay, if we look at Facebook, also slightly lower, but not making new lows. What is making new lows is Intel. Okay, this is very disconcerting. Intel is a very important company in the stock market, and the reason it is that it really is a baseboard in terms of a collective kind of company that reflects much of the technology company when it comes to hardware and the application to them. So Intel is really the leading indicator when it comes to the high tech. So if it's making new lows, we might expect that going into September, October to see those sell-offs actually freight further. Now lastly, looking at Bitcoin, finding some footing at 21,400. We hit a high of 25,000, but then we petered out. So I mean, we are at the bottom of the range right now. Remember, we're trading not in tens of thousands of intervals. We're trading in a couple of thousand or to 3,000 to 4,000 intervals. So just keep that in mind. Expectations should be much quicker. So book your profits much quicker. And it is a decent trade actually to a high probability trade right here is to actually buy it. Okay, so just keep that in mind because we're at the bottom of the range. But keep that in mind because, you know, this could go either way with either breaking down further, because if the market continues breaking further down, Bitcoin could be drawn towards that as well. So Bitcoin has gotten hit over the past year, as you know, from $64 to $65 to 20,000, but it is still finding some footing here. I mean, if we look at a weekly chart, monthly chart, that's, you know, that's really a very, very tight range. I mean, we've been in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 weeks where we've been in a really very, very tight range, even though we sold off quite before that from 42,000 down to 20. But we've found footing, at least for now, okay? But if it does break that 20,000, that's really an important level for us to keep in mind. So keep that in mind. This is Fred Razak, and I wish everybody a great trading day. Thank you.